Maria and Charlie Chops, who's come this evening. I'm just so excited about Charlie's journey, and I want everybody to hear how fantastic Maria has been with Charlie. So let's start.
Hello, Choppy.
Welcome to Maria and Charlie Chops. And Maria, if you can tell us a little bit about Charlie, where he came from, what his history is.
Absolutely. So Charlie is 5 years old and he is a rescue Labrador. He was rescued by Labrador Retriever Rescue Southern England. And he was actually found on the streets of North London. So he'd had quite a horrible time. He was only about 9 or 10 months old at the time. And when they found him, he's got a sort of broken right wrist, so his right leg is slightly deformed and turns one way. And he was in their kennels, and I'm patron for them. And they asked me if he could come and stay for a few days because he was struggling on the concrete of the kennel. And it hadn't been that long since I'd lost my dog, so it was quite a tricky thing. And I said, of course, he can come and stay. Of course, day 3 of the 4 days, it was decided that he was staying forever, and that was
he found his home.
Yes. You found your home, you silly boy.
Yes, no, I bet it was so mutual. Oh my goodness, I bet you fell in love with him from the start.
Yes, he's got a beautiful nature.
I can see.
He's not, so he's having a little lick of my hands there.
Yes,
he's actually okay with his right wrist. He's managed. I mean, his nails have to be clipped more than normal. We have an amazing veterinary surgeon who looks after him called Dr. Roger Braylow. Don't know if you know him, but he's sort of monitoring his foot. And you know, he's a young dog. There isn't any point in break it and reset it because he'd lose all movement in that leg.
Does he limp on the leg at all?
He does limp a little bit. If it's a bit sore, you know, you'll find you might get the odd limp going on, but he's okay. He's okay, but weight is a big issue for him because of that and some other issues, which I'm sure we'll come on to.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go down your plant-based journey with him. Yeah. So when did he become plant-based?
So he initially became plant-based a couple of years ago, really, and we were trying him on various things that were available on the market then, but he's good, he loved the food, was doing really well, but he suffers, like lots of labs, with tummy issues and pancreatitis, and we kept getting flare-ups, and like, oh, you know, what do we do? So we were trying to eliminate certain things, and we were struggling, and my was working with us really beautifully on that, but we really were struggling. And so then we went back to what he was on, which was not a plant-based meal, and we put him back on that for maybe a month, which was difficult for me as a vegan, but obviously his welfare has to be a priority. And it sorted some of his things out, but then some of his other issues flared out, and it was really obvious that basically he was a happier dog on a plant-based diet, but his weight was an issue as well. And then thankfully we met you.
Oh,
and then obviously we started down, I can't remember the name of the first food you gave us that he did really well on.
I think was it Greta? Was it the red biscuits?
It was Greta, and
yes,
him and his adopted brother went mad for it. I mean, they love it.
Good. I'm importing it again, so let them know. Let Charlie and Ozzy know.
Let them know. They'll be putting their orders in.
Their red biscuits are back in the country.
Yeah, okay. They were on that, and then we tried a couple of things, but he got very heavy very fast.
Love the food too much.
Yes, he got very heavy very, very fast, and he is a dog who we have since discovered some other quite serious bone issues. He has virtually no hip sockets or the hip ball. It's like it doesn't exist. So the little sort of chip of bone that should be the socket is sitting, just resting, whereas it should fit in.
So serious hip dysplasia then.
It's very serious.
He has. Yeah.
And he's got, he's obviously just got some problems, which we kind of thought might be the case, when we took him on, because we didn't quite know his background with where he came from on the street for a little bit. So weight became even more important. And that's when I came to you and I said, what can we do? He's living, he was fat. He went on to the Solo Vegetal, which he just adored. He was doing the wet and the dry of Vegetal. I wasn't able to control his weight, and that's when we came to you for the next start.
And your email just was so, I had to reach out because my goodness, the love you have for your dog is so obvious. But when you said that the vet had said, he's still quite a young dog, that he's going to need 2 new hips and the weight has to come off for this, that's when I just felt, okay, we're going to use Charlie Chops so he was really my trial, and he has worked fantastically, because your email came at just the right time, because I just launched this spirulina super green supplement.
I love it.
And what it's got in it is, it's got obviously spirulina, which is high in protein, plus full of nutrients, the super nutrients that we benefit from if we take these super greens. But I've got my nutritionist to add the 4 amino acids that are lacking in a plant-based diet. And that's taurine, L-carnitine, tryptophan, and choline. These would be the 4 that are really needed. Yeah. But L-carnitine is an amino acid that, if you look at all the dog food diet foods out there, and it's an enormous market for these big companies, it's prescription dog food diets. They tend to be not palatable at all, very expensive.
So expensive.
Horribly expensive. And it's vet solutions to overweight dogs is they reach for what's in their practice is these bags of diet dog food. Owners take it, they buy it, their dogs don't like the food, they don't stick with it, and you get nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And it's frustrating for an owner, it's frustrating for a vet, they don't know what to do. So my thinking as a vegan is, and I have suffered with weight issues all my life, so I still do. I don't think I've ever been at a weight I wanted to get, especially as a student. I was enormous when I was a vet student. But it's this common knowledge that we eat more vegetables and more fiber, and we're going to lose weight. But equally, if you look at all the slim fasts, all the, as I say, the dog diet foods, all of them contain this amino acid L-carnitine, because what L-carnitine does in the body is it actually improves your metabolism. And bodybuilders have it as well. It's also found in bodybuilding. So it's a really important amino acid for weight loss, which is why the spirulina supplement I knew would work so well as a weight loss, as just one of its functions is as a weight loss. So the way you did it was just perfect, because you sent me a little video, which we're going to show as well. But the video is obviously Charlie enjoying, and he loves it. I love the way you did it. The music.
He's trying to back in now on the interview. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I did it with exactly what you said. We had lots of frozen vegetables, organic. I bought organic frozen vegetables, and lots of broccoli, green beans, some peas, a few carrots, but I was aware of the sugar content of carrots. Anything anything I could get my hand on really that was a safe, good vegetable from the list you gave me. And you helped me with the sweet corn issue, because some of the mixed bags have sweet corn in, and he wasn't digesting them, but there wasn't too much, and you expect that they kind of bulk the food up a bit.
They do. They feed birds. When they come out the other end,
yes,
they
come out the other end.
They feed birds. They feed the magpies. Yeah.
it was just amazing. I mean, I cook it up and then I put the nutritional yeast in. I mean, it's so easy. It takes no time. This is intensive. This is, I know some people go, oh my goodness, you cook for your dog, every day. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm cooking myself. I'm cooking my own vegetables.
Exactly.
And then when it's cool, I put the quarter of a teaspoon of, sorry, he's moving about a bit, of that amazing greens powder. And honestly, they are waiting. I mean, his brother, because I've used his brother not as often. His brother is from overseas, from a different charity called Saving Suffering Strays, and he had a few weight issues, so he doesn't have it as often as Charlie. But they both are there queuing, and they and that for me, we were to them, and particularly to a Labrador. And particularly to a dog who's, come from the worst situation, in a foreign situation. So you want them to love their food. Oh, yeah. There you go. Don't move the, don't change the settings.
Wonderful big no.
And they just go crazy for it. I mean, they just love it. He's so happy. I was so confident, thanks to your advice, that he wasn't missing out, that he was getting everything. And then of course we went and had the big weigh-in at our 4-week mark,
and 2.5 kilograms. Wonderful.
Yeah. So I mean, because he was heavy. I mean, he's quite a big Labrador, but he was up at 13 kilos, which is way too heavy. So he's to his 34.5, and they'd like him to do another 1.5 to 2 kilos. And so we're just going to keep going.
Perfect.
But then, of course, I'd be really interested to learn about maintenance as well, because I guess there comes a point when they've reached their goal. I'm doing that every day. So every day, one of his meals is the fresh vegetables, or the frozen vegetables with yeast and your amazing powder. And then the other meal is the Solo Vegetal complete.
Yeah. So and that's such a good question with maintenance, because at the end of the day, he actually can stay on that diet, because what you've done is you've lowered the intake of the Solo Vegetal is actually quite high. All plant-based foods are actually relatively high in fat, because we've got to, I mean, the manufacturers have got to make it palatable to the dogs. And so fat is one of those cravey substances. So all the plant-based foods are relatively high in fat, which is why, plus I think the Solo Vegetal, they get the flavoring from carob, which is that sort of.
Do they? That's interesting.
I know, exactly. It's. I mean, to us, it doesn't taste like chocolate, but I know in Cyprus and Greece they actually make chocolate from carob, even though it doesn't taste anything like chocolate. Yes. It doesn't have any bromine in it, but I mean, for dogs, it's palatable. But it's that palatability that obviously is the worry, because he likes it too much. It's got a high fat, so he's putting the weight on. But actually, what he's getting from those vegetables, plus the addition of the nutritional yeast and that super green supplement, he actually is getting all the nutrients that he needs. So he could actually even stay on that diet, so that he doesn't. I mean, it's not a diet. Yes, it is a diet in that it's a nutritionally complete diet, but not. You don't want him to lose more once he's lost that, but to actually keep him on would be absolutely fine. And as you say, once you're in that routine, it's probably the easiest thing to just cook it up.
So would you reduce that down then? So would it be maybe three or 4 times a week we swap a meal out rather than every day?
If the weight creeps back up, then you can keep it to every day. But if you find that actually you've got him at a lovely, you'll have to play around with that and keep, because I know it's not just weighing, but you've been measuring his neck, which is brilliant, because that's where they put the weight on, is around the jowls, and obviously around his waist. So keep your measurements, and if if you find that you've gone back to twice a day, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and that's suddenly creeping up again with the sort of, then definitely just take it back. But if he was to stay with what he's eating every single day as his maintenance, he actually is he's healthier than other dogs who are on a processed meat-based diet, because he is getting everything that he needs.
I mean, I think it's fantastic, and I'm not surprised because he's incredibly happy. He's had other things. Obviously, he's had this pancreatitis before. He hasn't had a flare up since he went plant-based. He hasn't had a flare up. He used to chew his feet a lot. He stopped chewing his pads. That's all gone. He had some problems as well with the consistency of his poo, and he was having trouble with his glands. That has just improved tenfold since all of that. So
wonderful.
This is something that suits this dog, and he is a
absolutely
healthy dog. And the thing that the vet said to us, obviously we're having to monitor him closely. There's certain, like, he can't do a lot of stair work and things like that. And he said that since the weight loss, that the way he's holding himself and the way he's walking is so improved. So the gait at the back end where he's got these problem with his hips is hugely improved.
Oh,
so
wow.
We can't thank you enough. It's absolutely.
Oh,
I'd love to introduce you to our vet, and talk. Be great.
Get him convert him.
Yeah, let's get him converted.
and then in addition, because we know he's got, with that severe hip dysplasia he's got, so it's not just the weight, but have a look on my website, the Eco Pet Meds page. I've actually given advice. It's things like having ramps when he goes into the car, for example. There's so many things. It's having mats around on the floor so he doesn't slip, because any slipping and his splaying of his hips is going to affect it. So if you've got slippery floors, which so many of us do, it's just getting mats down while you've got him, even while he's young. But then it's the addition of extra supplements to support his joints. So that would actually be the omega-3 algae oils. Definitely have a huge function with his joints. Either the Vegetology or the Norsan algae oil. I know we're talking oils and you're always thinking, he's going to put weight on, but actually the omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, and they're not ones that are going to cause a pancreatitis or upset the weight level. They actually have benefits with dogs that are overweight or that suffer with these issues because of the anti-inflammatory nature of the DHA and the EPA in the omega-3, and the purest form is in algae oil. A lot of owners try to use flaxseed, but actually flaxseed is only there to the omega-3 in flaxseed is only good for skin and hair, but not for heart and generally in the body and the brain. The best form is algae oil. So that's why I always just recommend the human algae oil.
Amazing. Yeah, fantastic.
So definitely to give him that. Plus there's this, it's a lovely new company. It's called Tare Pets.
Yes, they sent me some. They
sent you? Wonderful, because I was going to send you some as well. So I would actually give him one of those a day, every day, just constantly, because that's got the glucosamine, chondroitin, it's all vegan, lovely, sustainable.
They love those. We'll keep them on.
Yes.
I think we're coming to the end of our trial, but we'll keep them on. We'll keep them both on that then, because they do very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just knowing that it's also vegan, it's also sustainable. There's no, because so many of these products have fish oil in them, and there's nothing sustainable about fishing at the moment ever. We've got to protect our oceans. So using these lovely vegan supplements is just perfect. It's sort of the replacement for U-Move that has been the big hit with them. But actually the levels of everything that's in the Tare Pets is higher than you're getting in U-Move with the levels. I've sort of compared them. So
great.
The products are sort of the products of the future. Really, is just everything sustainable.
Well, you see, I mean, I want to do what's right for my companion my which is Charlie. And that's why the journey has been stop-start, and why actually you played such a huge part in bringing us to where we are today. Because of course he has to be a priority. I'm his caretaker, and the person that has to look out for him. But I also want to be caring for the planet, and as a family we do, and for all the other animals that have historically had to be sacrificed to feed the animal, and that doesn't make sense to me. So the companies that are really coming up with this stuff now, I absolutely agree. I think it's the way. And I think within veterinary medicine, as this is proved, people will become more open to it, hopefully, and a lot less skeptical and less frightened of it.
Absolutely.
You never know. Maybe some of the that's happened with the human sort of vegan world. You've got all sorts of people making vegan food. Maybe there'll be lots of well-known brands for dogs and cats that will be vegan food.
Absolutely. And I mean, last year it just took off. We suddenly got 6 new products in 1 year. So this year I'm just so positive as well. I've had people contact me saying, they're wanting to start a pet food company, all vegan. So it's just so exciting. But I think for owners to hear your journey, Maria, is just fantastic, because that's what we all need to hear. We need to hear it from each other. Because it's one thing for me to put up posts and just say, this is what, but to actually hear it from you, to see Charlie, to hear the evidence is wonderful. So thank you so much.